You're listening to the Results Driven Organizations podcast with Dr. Taunya Lowe, a podcast of curated conversations with C-suite leaders and those who support organizational growth and development. Get ready for inspiring interviews, educational lessons, and thought-provoking discussions that will challenge you to execute something new and innovative that will drive results in your organization. And now, here's Dr. Taunya Lowe.
Hello, you're listening to the Results Driven Organizations podcast with Dr. Taunya Lowe, using my results driven philosophy of strategy, leadership, teams, and customer experiences. I help organizations develop their best kept secret, their human capital. This podcast is designed to expand the conversation with C-suite leaders and those who support organizational growth and development, and what it really takes to create, develop, and maintain results-driven and high-performing organizations. Our guest today is Lisa Sharapata. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at Harbinger Institute, a pioneer in leadership development and culture transformation. At Harbinger, Lisa spearheads initiatives that help resolve internal challenges and achieve breakthrough results by encouraging team members to shift their mindset rather than merely change their behavior. Before joining Harbinger, Lisa was the CMO of Boots Up AI, where she played a crucial role in the company's growth. Her career also includes a tenure as the VP of Global Marketing at MindTickle and senior positions at leading firms such as Six Sense and Aprimo. Her innovative approach and impactful contributions to marketing have earned her numerous accolades, including being named one of Pavilion's 50 CMOs to watch in 2024. In addition to her marketing prowess, Lisa was honored as the 2021 B2B Vanguard and B2B Innovator, and recognized as a woman to watch by DMN. Her dedication to making a difference extends beyond her professional role. She serves as a GTM Partners Ambassador, provides advisory expertise to Hushly, and is a co-founder and board member of the Peak community. Lisa is a pretty busy lady. Her passion for life is evident in her love for the outdoors, where she enjoys hiking and spending time with her family and her dog, Marley. Lisa, welcome to RDO.
Hey, thanks for having me. Gosh, I'm like exhausted just listening to all that.
You want to take a nap, right?
I know. Jeez.
Well, I'm so excited to have this conversation around a topic that I am interested in and I love talking about, and it's around culture. So let's jump on in. Gary Vaynerchuk said that company culture is the backbone of any successful organization. Why is culture so influential in driving results?
Yeah, I think it's like it's this hidden force, right? It's this kind of best kept secret kind of thing. Like, how do you even create culture? How do you create a great culture? But people sense it. Like, when you're in a place where you feel like you can speak your mind, where you can trust people, where, you can point out problems and not end up being the problem. Like, when you're feeling valued, and that's when you get the best out of people. And so, I feel like it's this kind of undercurrent. It's there, and a lot of organizations and leaders don't really think about like how to shape it. It's kind of left to just unfold or become what it's going to be on its own. And again, it's become evident to me over my career that is a huge mistake. So start there.
Oh my God, you're so right. Because if you just let it happen, it will turn into something that you may not be beneficial for the organization. And so I believe that leaders should always have their pulse on the culture and have an idea of what type of culture they want to be a part of. Do you have a story, Lisa, about being in an organization where the culture wasn't, we're going to say, appropriate?
To say I've had a lot of different experiences, and the ones that kind of stand out to me, there was one case in which I was with a pretty large enterprise that was right when I joined, kind of in the middle of acquiring a bunch of small tech companies and building out a new business unit. And so you start merging together 17 different small businesses that are all used to kind of running their own way with no real intention of how you're going to bring those people together, no core value system, no like rhyme or reason to even like how reviews and things like that are done. No, there was nothing that was really bringing these people together. And it started to become toxic because people were afraid for their jobs. There's overlap in roles. There was leaders who were afraid for their jobs. There was individual contributors who were worried about their jobs. And so in that case, you start to see kind of all excuse my language, hell break loose, because really anything went, and there was just a lot of backstabbing, a lot of people like holding valuable information really close to their chest and not sharing things that really would have made a big difference for other teams and parts of the organization to know. And then people were afraid of it looking like there was redundancy, so there'd be people going off and doing crazy things that they shouldn't even been spending their time on. You name it. It was just and there was this small group, but there was a couple of people that I felt like, the Siamese twin cats from Lady and the Tramp that were like always conniving and scheming of like how they were going to ruin Lady's life and stuff. And like, I just felt like that was like the atmosphere, and nobody could be their best in that environment. And ultimately, after 2 years, the business unit was a complete failure. The organization ended up selling it for, it was like a $90 million loss or something crazy to, and splitting it back up into a couple of chunks. And, I like went with one side of it. There was another group that went with another side, and then it started all over again. But, what started to help galvanize it was, at that point then, there was a leadership team who said, here's how we're going to do this. Here's the values of this organization. This is our North Star. This is how we're going to run in these different departments. And just started making very strategic decisions quickly too. These were the types of people that were going to be in these roles, and they gave them and the autonomy and the I guess the latitude to start to make some strategic business decisions, and they communicated very clearly, here's the next steps, here's what's going to happen, here's how we're going to get from where we are right now to this point, these are the goals over the next 6 months, this is what it's going to look like. And it was just like a breath of fresh air, even though it was still stressful, because we knew there was changes were going to happen, but at least it knew what to expect. So that was one that just really stood out for me. It was pretty intense. So yeah.
As you were telling the story, and thank you for sharing that story, because you kind of took us from the toxicity to the evolution, and that was great. There's Siamese cats in every organization, and once it becomes toxic, you can't close your eyes to it. Someone has to step up and make the decision to turn things around. And I like what you said you all did. A decision was made. You have to identify that things are not working as well as they should. You're never going to get the results that you need when your organization is toxic. Of course, you may get a few wins, but are you really performing at your highest level? And so identify the challenges, define where you want to go, communicate, involve people, and follow your North Star. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just say, at the Arbinger Institute, they've been helping organizations change, really its mindset, and the mindset that really stems, or like is the ripple effect that everything stems from,
Yes.
for over 40 years. And it goes back to, like, you can't come in as a leader and just be a dictator and start telling people how to behave. And no one's gonna respond very well to that. And I've even, like, I don't know if you watched Ted Lasso, but pretty popular show. And I really love that series. And actually, we were talking about what we're reading. There's a new one that's like Lead Like Lasso that I just picked up too. But I love these concepts because what Ted Lasso understood, what the Arbinger Institute understands, and like what I think the leaders who really get it understand, is that you can't come in and tell someone how to behave. That if you can create a culture where other people see each other as people that matter as much as they do, as people who have challenges and problems and dreams and goals, and just as much as they do, and start to understand that you have an impact on them just as much as they have an impact on you. And if you're all working towards the same goals together, it's going to be a lot easier. That's what Arbinger's all about. And that's what I'm seeing great leaders be about. And that's what I watched Ted Lasso. I'm like, yes, like that's it. Like, he's letting these people, he's seeing them for who they are. Each one has their own gifts, their own challenges, their own crazy backgrounds of things that have happened to them.
Yeah.
But they're all human beings that are also have goals and aspirations and desires. And if you can unify that in a way where everyone can see the humanity in each other and be striving towards that North Star, that same goal, like, that's when the magic happens. So
that
great.
is absolutely where the magic happens. I love that. I love that. What role would you say leadership plays in shaping and sustaining the culture of an organization? And how do leaders ensure that managers at every level are aligned with the cultural values of the organization? So we know what happens when things are out of sync, things are out of whack. But what role does leadership play in shaping and sustaining the culture of an organization? And how do we ensure that leaders at all levels are aligned with those values?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And I'll just say, like, this is our work at Arbinger, and we have like 3 pillars, and we call this culture transformation flywheel. One is leadership, one is team performance, and one is inclusion and belonging piece. And you can start anywhere, say, on this flywheel, but when leaders are bought in, when the leadership team is in sync, to your point, I mean, everything goes so much smoother than if, like, a manager is trying to start this on their team and they don't have the buy-in from their leadership. So, ideally, you've got a leadership team who's understanding the impact and the value of culture, and who's self-aware enough to say, we need to work through some of these problems and lead by example before we start telling other people they have to go implement these concepts and tools and ideas. So ideally, you start there. And again, with Arbinger's work, we do workshops, we have sustainment tools, we have coaching and training. This isn't just an overnight, like, flip the switch, oh, I get it now. Yes, it's pretty easy concepts to understand, but sustaining that, using some of these kind of, again, back to the mindset piece of understanding your impact on others, understanding, like, how you might be perceiving something in real time when you're in a situation, you're actually frustrated. It's easier said than done. So, having a coach by your side, or having ongoing training and development to work through some of these types of real challenges and actually talk through, like, this is the situation and this is the strategic initiative and how can we work together better to fix it. It really does make a difference in working with a third party, that's unbiased, that's not going to take sides, that you can speak openly to and share kind of some of the things and like talk through, get some mentorship on without it like impacting your performance review later or worrying about them going and telling someone else, right? Like those things really do help. And then once the leadership team is really embracing some of these concepts, like that's when we ideally would bring in managers and through a situation that's actually happening right now. And how do you do it? But it's open dialogue. It's not shoving this stuff under the rug and like hoping that it fixes itself. It's like you really actually have to talk through some of these challenges and think about what your part is in it and think about what you can do differently and create an environment on your team where people feel safe to speak up and share stuff with you. And it's not just sitting there gossiping and talking bad about other departments, but let's fix this problem together. How do we do this?
Lisa, as you were talking, I was thinking about some of the clients that we work with, and, we go in and we do some of these same things and kind of break down the barriers. It has to start with leadership, because leadership sets the tone for everything else. People do what they see. And I don't think a lot of times leaders understand. You can't get into a leadership position and think, okay, I'm the leader, I'm just going to do whatever I want, and that it's not going to have an impact on your human capital. And so I absolutely agree with that. It takes not only training, but development. And so that development is key, especially with now the world of work report and upskilling and reskilling employees. Culture is so important. And I think it's a great time for leaders to kind of sit back and think about, what is the culture of our organization? And for those that are listening, you can be a leader in any organization, a nonprofit, academia, a faith-based, a 501c3, any type of organization. If you need to sit back and ask yourself, what is our culture? Are we pleased with our culture? Are people that work here, are they pleased? Are they happy? Are we meeting our targets? Could we be meeting them faster? What's slowing us down? All of those things to go back and realign the culture, but also as a leader to look at what are some of the things that I need to do to lead this team. I was having a conversation with one of our clients, and they brought us in to do some work with everybody else. It's always work with them, not me.
But yeah, they're the problem. It's
exactly. I'm not the problem. It's them. And so as we were working with them, several things kept coming up. And I went back to the leader who didn't want coaching, didn't want assessment, didn't want anything, because it wasn't this person, it was the rest of the staff. And I said, what can I do to help you become a better leader? And they just kind of looked at me like, and he's like, let me get back to you, because I think that's the key. If the leader doesn't feel like they have something they need to work on, then why should anyone else in the organization? The leader's not growing. Why should the organization grow?
Yep. I mean, we see this all the time, and we talk to leaders, well, what are the biggest challenges you're facing? And they'll say things like, oh, I just don't have the right talent on the team, or there's poor communication, or it's this other operational team's inefficiencies that are, I'm like, those are all, you're saying these are performance problems, or those are all culture problems. They all stem back to culture. And we all play a role in creating that culture. And when you start to unpack what your part is in creating that, it gets real. And a lot of people don't want to, look in the mirror and see their part in it. But when you have those aha moments, and you can be even vulnerable in front of your team and acknowledge what your part in that is. Like, it's taken me a long time in my career to take my walls down and be that vulnerable. But when you are, I mean, the respect actually goes up. It's amazing. It's the reverse effect, I think, of what most people, they think they have to be perfect and seen as this, like, rock star that never messes up. But that's not what people respond to. It's how you make them feel. And do they feel safe to come to you and say, hey, I am actually seeing this problem that's happening, and I don't know the answer. And like, I've had so many leaders in my past say, don't come in with a problem without a solution. And so that was the culture they created. And it was one where there was not much innovation. There were lots of things happening that could have been fixed. And guess when they were discovered? When the HR did the interview at the exit and found out all the things that were wrong, and then take it back, right? And that's what go back to this, like, psychologically safe, inclusive environment that I think organizations are really struggling to try to figure out how to create. But that's it. It's making it okay to mess up, making it okay to say, I have a problem with this, and it's a safe environment that we can actually talk through and figure out how to fix it together. And it's not going to be held against you later. That's when you can really innovate. That is when you're going to start fixing some of these problems that are broken. It's the people who are dealing with it every day. They know what's going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. John Maxwell says, fail fast. And so when you fail fast, it puts you in a situation to go back and look at, okay, where do we mess up? How could we have done this better? Gives you the opportunity to maybe bring in some innovative or creative approaches, but nobody wants to fail. No one is communicating. No one is asking questions. They don't feel safe. And so everything is stagnant. They start to move really slow. So Lisa, what do you think? Why do most efforts, we've been talking about culture and what leaders need and everything, but what do you feel are the number 1, 2, 3 issues that organizations fail to transform their culture? What keeps them stuck?
I think we see the stats show up. It's from Harvard Business Review, from McKinsey, but 70% of organizational efforts, transformation efforts, fail. And it comes back to not or focusing on behaviors, trying to change behaviors first. And say you can't change behaviors without first changing mindset. It's not going to be sustainable. Even if I do try to change my behaviors, back to like my New Year's resolutions, right? It's like, yeah, even if I want to change it, it's really hard. But when you start from the place of mindset, and it's understanding even my impact on someone else, or how I am in relation to this other team, what we're doing and how those things impact each other. And you change the way that you're seeing others and the way that you think about the problem, that's when you can start to turn things around. It's not until you have those aha moments where you really get to the heart of, what's happening underneath that behavior layer, that you're going to start to be able to make a sustainable change over time, that's going to last, right? Because I mean, that's the other thing. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do this behavior and for like 3 months, and then this thing curveball gets thrown at you, and you just start going back to like the way you used to do it if you haven't changed your mindset along with it. So
right, and that's a process within itself. It's kind of like faith. You have faith, but you have to keep working on your faith and strengthening your faith. With mindset, it's not going to change overnight. You've got to recognize, okay, I've got some thought processes that are maybe affecting how I lead my team, how I show up. I've got to work on myself first.
Well, right. So the same thing with like buying your gym membership. It's a good step in the right direction to like better health and fitness, but you got to show up, and you got to figure out like which exercises work best for you. And then, you're going to hit a plateau, and then you're like, okay, I got to change this up. What do I need to fix now that I've gotten to this level? And like, it is ongoing. And then your body, whatever, you get older or whatever. So it's an ongoing process. It's not something that's like, oh, okay, change my mindset, I'm good.
Yeah, I got it. I got it, and I'm good. It is ongoing, and it creates a culture of learning. And so if I'm a leader in an organization and my team, they see that I'm working on it and I'm encouraging them to work on it, you can't help but have a better results-driven organization.
Exactly. And then the other thing is like, who knows what's going to happen in the world? Times change, things happen, pandemics come your way, whatever it is. But if you want the resilience there, but you've got this really great underlying core culture that knows that, hey, we're in this together, and that like, we're going to work through this as a team. And, this new challenge has come up and I can talk about it. And, I'm in a safe environment where, we can get through this together. Like, that starts to create this resilience. And, even when you have mergers or acquisitions, or you're not hitting your numbers, or things aren't going well, when you have that core culture piece in your organization, that's, this resilience that everyone's saying they want, right? Like, that comes from over time too, knowing that you're going to be able to get through it. Yeah. Because you've got the core of what you need, which is that underlying current, that culture piece it's invisible, but it's there, and people know it. So
you've got to do the work. And once you do the work, it will help you not only professionally, but it'll help you personally as well. So
absolutely, it does. I mean, they all always cross over.
I know. I coming from a behavioral health background, I tell people there's a thin line between personal development and professional development, and they go together. They're married. And so when you grow. You're not just growing. I'm just growing for myself. When you grow for yourself, it's going to show at work. And when you grow and you learn things at work, it's going to help you personally. So they go together. They don't, it's like separating peanut butter and jelly. They go together. So Lisa, what's going on at Arbinger? I know you guys have some exciting things going on. What's going on over at Arbinger?
Yeah, I mean, we just released a new research report on culture transformation. That's our second annual. So that's exciting, and I'm happy to share that link, just something you can grab on our website. And then at the end of the summer, August 27th, we're releasing the fourth edition of our book, Leadership and Self-Deception. That's a tongue twister, I didn't realize. But this is a best-selling book of one of our 3 books. And we've got 2 other books, Anatomy of Peace and The Outward Mindset. But Leadership and Self-Deception has been just completely revamped and modernized, new characters. And I'm really excited for that to come out. So we'll be spending a lot of time talking about that this summer.
Very good. We'll make sure we put that in the show notes. So Lisa, what are you reading that we should be reading?
Yeah, well, I mentioned the Lead Like Lasso. I just finished Adam Grant's book, Hidden Potential, and now I'm listening to, he's got this, I don't know, it's like a couple hour series thing called Power Moves on Audible. And so that's where I love the kind of self-help quote, like inspirational stuff. So that's what I've been into lately.
Awesome. Well, we will be sure to share that with our listeners, because we believe that leaders are readers or listeners. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We have been chatting with Lisa Sharapata. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at the Arbinger Institute. Visit the show notes to see how to connect with Lisa and find out what's going on at Arbinger, and grab that report. Grab a copy of Results Driven Organizations, the 4 Keys to High Performance Workplace, and our special gift to you for being a valued listener. Until next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Results Driven Organizations Podcast with Dr. Taunya Lowe. Be sure to review the show notes for the resources mentioned, and don't forget to grab your free gift available at freegiftfromtanya.com. Until next time.